Every civilization leaves a door someone forgot to open. This is case file number 4. In September of 1992, villagers in Longyou County near Hangzhou turned their attention downward rather than outward when they began pumping water from what had long been considered simple bottomless ponds beneath their feet. The machinery strained against the earth before finally draining a dark, subterranean lake to reveal a startling reality. Vast chambers hewn directly into solid rock, hidden just meters below the surface of everyday life for centuries. The sheer scale and precision of these excavations defied immediate explanation as local residents stepped back in awe from their newly exposed heritage. The main cavern alone spans an area comparable to 3 tennis courts, featuring towering columns up to 30 feet high that support a flat ceiling carved with geometric patterns resembling traditional Chinese architectural beams. Every inch appears meticulously shaped by chisel and hammer without any visible scaffolding marks or rough edges one would expect from primitive digging tools, suggesting a level of engineering sophistication that seems almost alien in its perfection yet remains strictly human-made according to archaeological consensus. Some researchers speculate that the caves may have served as communal tombs for an ancient dynasty whose records vanished before modern history took hold, while others proposed they were used for religious retreats or storage facilities during times when the ground above was too unstable or flooded with water. The lack of any clear historical timeline associated with these structures leaves investigators searching through soil samples and sediment layers to determine if this underground world predates known Chinese dynasties by 1,000 years or simply represents an unrecorded chapter in regional history that has only just begun to surface for the global audience watching now. Standing within one of these vast chambers is an experience that defies immediate comprehension as the sheer scale challenges our understanding of ancient engineering capabilities. The complex consists of over 24 distinct man-made caverns distributed across the Longyou mountainside in Zhejiang province. Yet what truly unsettles the observer is their uniform precision. Each space was not merely dug, but meticulously carved directly out of solid siltstone by human hands alone, with no visible evidence of scaffolding or mechanical assistance surviving from that era. As you look up toward the ceiling, which often rises higher than a modern 5-story building to heights exceeding 30 meters, one is forced to confront the reality that these were not simple tombs but monumental halls carved in stone over centuries of relentless labor. The uniformity across the entire excavation site further deepens the mystery surrounding their construction. Despite being separated by significant distances within the mountain range and varying slightly in shape due to geological constraints, nearly every chamber measures roughly 10 meters on each side with walls cut at a consistent 40-degree angle from vertical. This geometric regularity suggests that whoever undertook this project possessed an extraordinary degree of planning or perhaps followed strict instructions passed down through generations. Some researchers speculate that such standardization implies the existence of a sophisticated organizational structure capable of mobilizing and directing thousands of workers simultaneously. Yet archaeological finds provide no written records to confirm their identity or intent beyond these silent stone walls. The atmosphere within the caves carries an undeniable weight given how completely they were isolated from the surface world for millennia before discovery in 1992. With no doorways leading directly outside and only small ventilation shafts piercing upward, these spaces function as entirely enclosed environments where air circulation was managed solely through natural convection currents rising to those narrow apertures. The silence inside remains profound even today, broken only by the echo of footsteps on packed earth floors that show signs of repeated use rather than abandonment after a single burial event. This lack of grave goods or inscriptions contrasts sharply with contemporary cultures in China who left behind elaborate artifacts and detailed texts for future generations to decipher, leaving us staring into an abyss where history ends abruptly without explanation. As you move deeper into the Longyou complex, a singular phenomenon demands immediate attention: the complete absence of chisel marks on any surface whatsoever. Every wall, ceiling, and pillar is covered in hundreds of parallel grooves that run with startling uniformity across vast distances. These tool marks are not haphazard scratches left by an unskilled worker. Rather, they form a consistent, almost mechanical pattern that suggests a rhythmic, repetitive motion maintained over immense stretches of time. The precision implies the use of tools that could maintain their edge indefinitely without dulling or breaking. Yet no such implement has ever been discovered in archaeological records from this era. Experts who have spent careers analyzing stonework from around the world find themselves at an impasse when faced with these carvings. Standard hammer and chisel techniques would leave chaotic, overlapping fractures and varying depths of cut as a stone's natural resistance changes. Yet here, The striations are perfectly parallel, maintaining identical depth regardless of whether they traverse soft sandstone or harder conglomerate layers. Some researchers speculate that perhaps multiple craftsmen worked in perfect unison using unseen guides, but even this theory struggles to explain why no tool debris from such an intensive process has ever been found within the excavation sites themselves. The silence left behind by these workers is as profound as their skill. The implications of what remains only deepens when one considers the time frame implied by the sheer volume of work performed without modern machinery. If ancient craftsmen were indeed responsible, they possessed a collective knowledge that defies current understanding of material science and engineering limits for that specific period in Chinese history. We are left staring at evidence of human hands shaping rock with an efficiency that suggests either a lost technology or a methodology so advanced it challenges our very definition of the past. The mystery does not lie in who carved these caves, but rather in how they did it without leaving behind any physical trace of their tools, creating a silent testimony to a capability we can witness but cannot fully explain with what we currently know about human history and technology. When you stand before these vast chambers carved directly into solid bedrock in Zhejiang province, the sheer scale of the labor required immediately demands acknowledgement by any rational observer. Geologists and engineers estimate that creating such a network of tunnels with precise measurements would have demanded thousands of skilled specialists working continuously for many years without modern machinery. The walls are straight, the floors level, yet there is not a single scratch or mark left behind to indicate which master architect designed them or under whose authority they were constructed. It stands as an undeniable fact that this monumental engineering feat exists in total isolation from every known historical narrative of its time. Search through centuries of local folklore and regional chronicles, and you will find absolutely nothing regarding the origin of these hollowed-out spaces. Unlike other archaeological sites where pottery shards or royal inscriptions tell a story of conquest or worship, Longyou offers no artifacts that can be dated with certainty to pinpoint when they were made. There are no family legends passed down through generations about who ordered this excavation, nor is there any written record in ancient Chinese texts mentioning these specific caves even during periods of intense documentation regarding local geography and administration. The silence surrounding their creation feels less like a forgotten page torn from history books than an intentional void that refuses to be filled by conventional historical methods. Some researchers speculate that the only plausible explanation lies in looking at China's early imperial expansion into this mountainous region where administrative control was often tenuous. Yet they must acknowledge how frustratingly little concrete evidence remains available for analysis today. While some theories suggest these spaces were abandoned mines or temporary shelter sites lost to time, none carry enough historical weight to account for the precision of their stonework without invoking unfounded claims about extraterrestrial visitors or mythical beings who vanished into thin air after finishing their work. The central mystery stands verified not as a ghost story but as a genuine puzzle where all standard answers have failed to surface. We know exactly what was built, yet no one in history seems to remember ever having ordered it constructed at all. Within the vast silence of these underground halls, one cannot help but notice that gravity has never won its ancient battle against human engineering. The architects who carved this network nearly 2 millennia ago possessed a profound understanding of structural physics long before it was codified in modern textbooks. They did not simply hollow out rock. They sculpted stability itself, deliberately leaving massive load-bearing pillars standing like silent sentinels to support the immense weight of the ceiling above. These supports are arranged with such precise geometric regularity that they form a rigid lattice capable of distributing stress evenly throughout the cavern system, effectively turning solid bedrock into a self-repairing fortress against collapse. Beyond their functional geometry, some surfaces reveal an intimate connection between utility and symbolism through intricate carvings etched directly onto structural pillars. On several supports, artisans have incised patterns resembling fish scales or woven nets, motifs that likely served both aesthetic purposes and perhaps warnings to future inhabitants regarding the sanctity of the load-bearing elements. While these decorative touches add a layer of mysterious ritualism to the stone giants, their placement suggests they were not mere afterthoughts but integral parts of the structural integrity plan, merging spiritual reverence with practical necessity in ways that modern engineers might find difficult to replicate without advanced modeling software. The true testament to this ancient craftsmanship lies in the cavern's enduring resilience despite a complete absence of contemporary reinforcement or maintenance over more than 1,700 years. There are no steel beams, concrete injections, or synthetic anchors holding these spaces together. Instead, Pure gravity and original stone formwork keep the roofs intact against seismic activity that would have shattered lesser constructions elsewhere. Some researchers speculate that subtle variations in local geology may offer additional support, yet even without such advantages, the sheer precision of the initial cut remains baffling to contemporary experts who cannot determine exactly how this structure survived centuries of natural erosion and human intrusion without requiring any intervention from later civilizations. When archaeologists first stood before these hollowed-out rock faces in Longyou County, they immediately sought a logical explanation grounded in known history rather than fantasy. The prevailing narrative suggests an imperial quarry intended for construction projects of vast scale, where laborers carved out massive blocks to build palaces or bridges nearby. Alternatively, some researchers speculate that the sheer volume and specific dimensions indicate a military storage facility designed to hold weapons or grain during times of conflict. These hypotheses offer plausible reasons for such extensive excavation within a relatively short window of time, fitting neatly into our understanding of ancient logistical needs without requiring supernatural intervention. Yet another school of thought proposes that these caverns served as shipbuilding sites in antiquity, perhaps used by a powerful kingdom to craft vessels large enough to navigate the Yangtze River or defend coastal waters. The idea is that workers hollowed out entire rooms only to remove them intact as hull components, creating a fleet from below ground before launching it into the waterways above. This theory relies heavily on circumstantial evidence regarding trade routes and naval history of the period, suggesting an unprecedented industrial effort undertaken by early Chinese civilization to master complex hydrological engineering long before such feats are generally attributed to modern times. Despite these compelling narratives, there remains a profound silence from the caves themselves that renders all current theories unproven. No inscriptions have been found on the walls detailing who commissioned the work or why it was done. No tools were discovered alongside the finished chambers linking them directly to any specific dynasty's workforce. Without physical evidence preserved inside the dark recesses, we are left with a collection of educated guesses that compete for attention but lack definitive confirmation. The true identity of the builders and their motivations remain shrouded in uncertainty, leaving us facing an archaeological puzzle where every logical answer feels possible yet none can be verified beyond doubt. Now, the part historians won't confirm. Here's what if: imagine that Longyou is merely a fragment of something far vaster, a hidden survivor in an ancient landscape where excavation was once rampant but has since been erased by time and intent. Some researchers speculate that these precise chambers were never isolated projects, but rather integral components of a regional engineering effort spanning the entire hillside. The sheer number of caves found within such a short distance suggests they may have served a unified purpose before their context was lost to deliberate sealing or natural collapse over millennia. Consider the possibility that what we see today is only the exposed tip of an iceberg, with massive networks of tunnels extending deep beneath the surrounding ridges, currently hidden by soil and rockfall. If this hypothesis holds true, then the caves were not abandoned, but rather closed off intentionally, perhaps to protect them from looters or simply as part of a grand architectural vision that outgrew its original scope. This theory posits that entire clusters of chambers lie dormant under our feet today, waiting for geological shifts or future technology to reveal their secrets without needing any supernatural explanation. The ominous reality here is not about magic, but about the limits of current archaeological methods and the deliberate erasure of history through neglect or obstruction. If we accept this speculative framework, Longyou transforms from a singular mystery into a clue pointing toward a forgotten era of human ingenuity that was quickly buried under layers of silence. We stand before what might be the only remaining whisper of a much louder conversation among stone, where the voices of the builders were cut off long ago by their own design, or the ruthless passage of centuries leaving us with incomplete answers and endless questions regarding exactly how far down we can go without knowing who walked there first. Surrounding the Longyou caves in Zhejiang province lie over 1,000 sinkhole-like depressions scattered across the landscape like forgotten scars on the Earth's skin. Despite their sheer number, only a handful of these geological features have ever been drained and fully explored by human eyes, leaving us with an incomplete picture of what truly lies beneath this region. The vast majority remain submerged secrets, hidden under murky waters that reflect the sky while concealing whatever history may be carved into the stone floors below. This selective exploration suggests either a lack of resources or perhaps an unspoken reluctance to disturb such ancient anomalies further. The implications of these remaining undisturbed pits are profound and largely speculative among researchers who study them from afar without direct access. Some experts hypothesize that if every depression in this area were cleared like Longyou, the sheer volume of interconnected chambers could redefine our understanding of prehistoric engineering capabilities entirely unknown to modern science. Without comprehensive excavation data, we cannot confirm whether these holes are natural formations or artificial constructions on a scale far exceeding historical records for their time period and technological context. The silence of the water acts as a barrier between curiosity and knowledge, preserving mystery even as it limits scientific discovery. But case file number 4 wasn't the strangest door we found. Case file number 5 is about a stone structure off the coast of Japan that divers still argue is either a monument or a mistake nature made to look like one. Some say it shouldn't be opened at all.